Hi, everyone. I am Jamie Russo on the partner marketing team here at Google Cloud. Today's session will be a conversation with two partner organizations involved in the Google Cloud DEI Partner Alliance, SADA and Palo Alto Networks. Our mission today is to share perspectives on diversity, equity, and inclusion as it relates to our speakers and their spheres of influence. So let's go ahead and meet our panelists. Please share a little bit about yourself and why this topic is important to you. Sandy, we'll start with you.
Thanks, Jamie. Hi, I'm Sandy Hogan, Chief Revenue Officer with SADA. And a lot of my passion around DE&I revolves around the everyday experience and creating the micro moments, leading by example through inclusive leadership and mentorship.
Hi, my name is Prem Iyer, and I'm the VP of Ecosystems at Palo Alto Networks and the Executive Sponsor for our Black Employee Network. For me, the passion around DE&I is around the E. Getting us all to equity addresses both the D and the I, and clearly seeing the gaps we have in our workforce today, we have a lot of work to do.
Thank you, Prem and Sandy, and thank you for joining us. Hi, everyone. My name is Roshni Joshi. I'm the Director of Customer Engineering for Google Cloud, and I look after our business in US Central. Along with my functional role, I also sit on our Executive Culture Council, and I'm an executive sponsor for our Early Talent Program, focusing on diversity within our organization. And I'm particularly passionate about creating spaces, creating environments where everyone can sense feeling of belonging and have their voices heard. That's what I really love about this space.
Thank you all for being here. Roshni, can you take a moment to share how Google approaches DEI?
Absolutely. So I want to start with our mission statement, Jamie. And as you know, Google's mission statement is to organize the world's information and make it universally inaccessible and useful. And I'll underscore the word universal because for us, that means building for everyone. And that itself is the beginning point or the starting point of inclusion for us. It's embedded in our mission statement and it's amplified by our senior leadership every day. I'll brag on our CEO, Sundar Pichai, for a second because he just received the Global Citizen Award by the Atlantic Council for his work with refugees and displaced personnel. So it's such an important moment in time for us to focus on it as a leadership team, and it's amplified within our organization every day. So DEI is not just important because it is the right thing to do. It's also a business imperative for us. Many studies have shown how when you have diversity within your organization, it impacts your bottom line. So when you have gender diversity, for example, your financial results are 20% better than your peer group. When you have both gender and racial diversity, your financial results are 25% better. So it's the right thing to do. It's not a nice to have, and it impacts your bottom line. So it's absolutely something organizations should be thinking about and focusing on every day. At Google, we look at driving inclusion through three separate pillars. There are people pillar, there are product or technology pillar, and there are partnerships pillar. I'll start with our technology pillar. So the way we build our products, the products that impact billions of users every day, we have this tremendous responsibility to make sure those products are inclusive. So we build that inclusivity within our product design process. Every part of our process, we try to make sure that we are centering on the most underrepresented voices and including them in our design, in our build, in our user testing, even in our marketing. So all facets of product design. Next comes our people. We have this tremendous focus to build an inclusive organization and also a workplace where people can sense a sense of belonging. We have a tremendous commitment and a visible commitment by our leadership to increase representation at all levels, and especially within our leadership to drive up to 30% improvement by the year 2025. And certainly the last one and the very important one is our partnerships, because we realize we cannot do it alone. We have this innate responsibility to drive these inclusive practices, our best practices, share them with the ecosystem, and we have to do it with our partners to drive that message of inclusion.
Thank you, Roshni. For today's conversation, we're going to double down on the people pillar. So let's dig in on how SADA and Palo Alto Networks are inspiring their teams. Let's start with you, Sandy. How are you leveraging DEI initiatives at SADA?
Sure. I'll share two specific examples. First is around engagement. We have developed strategic training programs to address various topics, such as inclusive listening and unconscious bias, and involving that training at every level in the organization, from management to individual contributors and our resource groups. The second example is really around recruitment, where our talent acquisition team uses a gender decoder and other machine learning tools to eliminate potential bias in job descriptions. And we've implemented standardized guidelines to include competency-based questions that are evaluated with scorecards. And this has served as well as an embedded enablement for people to appreciate those different types of questions.
Great. Thank you. Prem, can you please share your approach at Palo Alto Networks?
Yeah, sure. I want to first echo what Roshni said at the beginning, right? Which is, this is a conversation that is absolutely better for business. If you Google, no pun intended, McKinsey's report or Deloitte's report on the topic, you'll find that it affects both top line and bottom line when we have more diverse boards and diverse C-suites in organizations. Secondly, it's also the right thing to do. I wouldn't say it in priority order, but it just is. So we got to go do this as a community of technology, community of organizations. Not only when it's popular, a lot of the corporate conversations started after George Floyd's murder, but these promises have to continue throughout every era and every time. And that for us at Palo Alto Network starts with our employee network groups, right? Across race, across gender, we have 9 groups today, adding 2 more this year that really allow people to bring their full self to work. That's number one. Number two is along the lines of what Sandy talked about, right? About learning. So much is unknown around unconscious bias, how to use inclusive language in our day-to-day meetings, what we do around microaggressions, and how sometimes we don't even know what we may be saying to others and how it affects them. That kind of training and understanding is really we're trying to inculcate in every single employee of Palo Alto Networks. And finally, there's a piece around partnerships, whether it's Women in Cybersecurity, Black Girls Hack, Off the Street Club, Heroic Hearts Project, or Sisters in Sales. There's opportunities that we are forging ahead with around increasing representation and diversity across all of our talent acquisition modes.
Great. Thank you for bringing up partnerships. I want to pivot to the partnership pillar. Here at Google, we have a program, Partner with Purpose. I'm happy to share that both SADA and Palo Alto Networks are part of. And Roshni, will you tell us a little bit more about this program?
I'd love to. And I also want to say that what Sandy and Prem just shared is a perfect example and a living embodiment of what we are doing in our Partners with Purpose. So I'll start off with what I referenced earlier. We've made some very visible, very bold commitments to sustainable equity, but it's not about building sustainable equity at Google. We also wanted to do it in our ecosystem, in the communities that we serve it. Therefore, Partners with Purpose is our coalition to serve the external ecosystem, but doing it in a purpose-driven, social impactful manner where we can take these actions, work with our partners who are similar minded, and take the sharings, learnings, best practices, and basically collectively amplify our voices. What Sandy just talked about with Job Decoder, what Prem just talked about with ERGs and with inclusive language training and with Sisters in Sales. I love that. I'm going to steal that. Those are all things that we should be learning from each other and amplify so that we can all have a better and a bigger impact on things that matter globally.
Great. Prem, would you like to share how Palo Alto Networks approaches partnerships?
Yeah, I think in the spirit of paying it forward, Palo Alto Networks really focuses on supporting the communities that our employees live, work, and volunteer in, right? And so that starts with 4 main initiatives. While we mentor our own underrepresented talent, we also offer external mentoring in partnership with Youth Strive, a US-based high school and college students, right, where they each get a mentor and potential scholarships as well towards learning more around cybersecurity. Our ENGs have given back to over 29 organizations. The ones I just spoke about have given back to over 29 organizations just this year, and will give to nearly double that next year. Through our Smile program, employees, 13,000 plus at Palo Alto Networks, can now copy exactly what I just said about our ENGs and give to the organizations they choose to, hundreds of them all around the world. And oh, by the way, Palo Alto Networks will match all of those and support our employees in that giving. And finally, our CyberStars program. It's an initiative I'm really proud of that seeks to address racial disparity, specifically in Black communities, in exposure, access, and really hiring the tech sector.
Those are such great examples, Prem, and I'll share one in particular from SADA that we're working on, which is, Operation Code. And we want to do our part to actually help the military veterans get the training they deserve to thrive in the tech industry after serving our country with such honor. And recent metrics shows that our military community is often very overlooked in the tech industry. And we all clearly have a shortage in cloud engineering tech talent. So this is such a unique opportunity to bring more military technicians into the field. And so with Operation Code, we source technical talent for our 8-week in-house university called SADA U. And we don't stop there. We understand that true equity only happens with an economic component to our DEI efforts as well. And so that's why our recruits are employed as junior engineers on day one of the program. So it creates incredible opportunity.
That's wonderful. Thank you all for this important dialogue and the great insights. So one final question for you. If you could leave our viewers with one challenge or a next step to impact their sphere of influence, what would it be? I'll send it to Sandy.
It's the $1 million question, and it certainly can be daunting to think about where to start. And I actually reflect on a recent keynote that we had at our company-wide offsite from Mick Ebeling. He is from Not Impossible Labs. And what we learned from Mick is that we all have the opportunity to be multiplier effects and bring positive energy to so many, not only that we've talked about today, but in our everyday influence. And the key is that we have to start somewhere. And sometimes it's actually about thinking and acting small and not feeling like we have to impact the entire initiative. And so that one small idea, that one aspect that is maybe making a phone call to somebody that you know, it's doing a little bit of extra research to educate yourself. And there is no such thing as not being able to contribute by that one small action. And so I think of it as getting back to even my opening and passion around micro moments. And as Mick defined, who's your one? Who's that one person that you can call and impact or engage and hear their voice in a different way that can make a significant impact?
I love this idea of micro moments, that one call, and who that one person is, Sandy. That's just wonderful. And I think about if everyone here listening just did what you asked, how many more people would be affected in a positive way? So, Jamie, to answer your question, I mean, if I have to answer one thing that we should all do is be bold. And that can mean a lot of things, but I'll give you a few ideas. One is use your platform, whether it's messaging like what we're doing today, leveraging your social capital at your organization, getting folks exposure that they wouldn't have normally, access to resources and to people. Be an advocate for others, whether it's a sponsor or a mentor. Understand the difference and what an individual needs at any given moment. Recognize the privilege you have, and really in this light of, if you see it, you can be it. When we create those opportunities for those who are underrepresented talents to see the art of the possible, when they see those leaders who have made it through a lot of challenges that they are facing today. And I'll leave you with this. I remember a sales kickoff years ago, and they brought in a motivational speaker, and he said, a lot of people will tell you it's not what you know, it's who you know. I'm here to tell you it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And to that extent, help someone who doesn't have access to the people and resources they need get it. When they do, you may find talent that you never knew was there and really create an opportunity for someone new.
I love that. And I actually wrote that down and I'm going to steal it shamelessly. Who knows you? And I also love the concept of micro moments that Sandy referenced, because those are the everyday moments in which we can make a difference. So the one thing that is very close to my heart is the use of inclusive language. And both Sandy and Prem talked about it in terms of trainings and education that we all need to continuously go through. And this is something that we can all do, take on the ownership of doing in our everyday lives. There's so many words and so many phrases that are incorporated in our day-to-day language that we don't even think about. Phrases like, it's a big boys club now. Phrases such as open the kimono, phrases such as whitelist a service. We drop it into our conversation, don't even think about it. But these all have racial or gender connotations. And as we use these words and as people hear us say it, we are unknowingly and unwittingly changing the brain circuitry of our brains and of those who are listening to us. So my one ask to you would be mindful of the words that you use, be mindful of the language that you use, and be mindful of using language that is inclusive and doesn't give preference to one race, one gender, one type of people over the other. That would be my one ask. Recognize it, own it, and be mindful.
Thank you so much. These are great. And thank you for being here today to share how you inspire your spheres of influence, giving our viewers ideas on how we can collectively make the industry inclusive and DEI driven. Thank you all for tuning in, and see you in the next session.